Good afternoon, friends, and welcome to Ultravision Academy. So, this is 12th Science English Medium, subject Computer. We are learning chapter number 7. So, in this chapter, we have completed up to operators, various types of operators. In the last lecture, we saw about various types of operators, their precedence order and associativity. Now next is control structure. Actually, in a programming there are three things important: sequence, selection and iteration. Till now, the programs that we have seen, all these programs are sequential programs. It means if there are 10 lines in a program, then when you execute the program will get executed one by one from top to bottom. So it will execute first line, then second line, then third line. This way the program gets executed. So that is called sequence. But actually programs are not simple every time. When there is a need to follow some different path on the basis of the conditions specified, at that time we have to use selection. There are various types of selection structures available in Java. The first one is block. We can create a block. Actually, in a program, for few statements, we can give a block name. We can write the few statements inside curly brackets and we can give block name. Say for example, in a program, we can use any name, for example say BLK1. After block name you have to give colon sign, and then inside curly brackets we can write various statements, and then we have to complete curly bracket. So this portion is known as block BLK1. There are also statements before the block, and same way statements are available after the block also. But the benefit is that whenever you need, you can call the block again. So at any time or in the program, wherever you want to write, you can write the block name, say for example BLK1, and then you can call the block statements. So it will execute the statements given inside curly brackets again. This is called block. Actually, blocks are not used in a good programming technique. So remember, first one is block, another is if statement, and next is switch case. So these are the statements used for selection. So when there is a need to follow a different path, to execute different coding on the basis of particular logic or condition, at that time we can use either block or if statement or switch case. Iteration. So third one is iteration. Iteration is also known as loop. Remember, it is also known as loop. When there is a need to execute few statements for several times, we can use looping statements. In Java, there are three different loops available. First one is while loop, See, remember Java is case sensitive, so while loop you have to write in short, in small letters. Another is for loop, and third is do while loop. These three loops are there. So loops are used when there is a need to execute few statements for several times. So for example, we have written statement 1, same way statement 2 is there, statement 3, so several statements are there. Now if there is a need to execute these two statements for several times, then we can include both the statements inside loop, whether you use while or for loop or do while loop. So let's see. Control structures. Out of these three, first of all we have to see control structure, that is selection. Remember, previous programs that we have seen, they were sequential programs. Now we have to see control structures, that is block, if and switch case, and then we have to study iteration, that is looping statements. So in general, the statements are executed sequentially, one by one. Sometimes program logic needs to change the flow of this sequence. The statements that enable to control the flow of execution are considered as control structures. So there are two types of control structures, loops and branches. Loops are used to repeat a sequence of statements over and over until some condition occurs. So we can execute few statements for several times. Whereas branches are used to choose among two or more possible courses of action. So also called selective structure. For example, there are details given. For example, marks of particular students are given. So we have to display whether the student is pass or fail. So we have to check whether he or she has scored more than 35 marks in all subjects. Then we have to display pass, otherwise we have to display false. So there are two conditions, either it displays pass or it displays fail. But actually we have to write statements for both these conditions, but at a time it will execute only one, either pass or fail. So according to the marks, it will check the condition and then it will display any of these two results, whether pass or fail. So that is known as branches. The first statement is block statement. A block statement is a group of statements enclosed between pair of braces, curly brackets. So here you can write the block name and then colon sign. Then inside curly brackets we can write several statements. When we call this block, it will execute the statements given inside curly brackets again. So to group a sequence of statements into a unit that is to be treated as a single statement, usually in control structure, to group logically related statements, we can use parentheses. To create variables with local scope for the statement within a block. So for all these we can create a block, and in the blocking statements we have to write inside curly brackets. Here the example is given. The statements written in between curly brackets, these are the statements of block. See, whatever variable you create inside a block, that is available when block statements are executed. After the completion of this block, the variable will not be available. So here temp is a variable that is created inside block. So when these statements are executed, when these statements are completed, after that you will not be able to find temp variable. So it exists throughout the block and not outside the block. So when we declare variable inside a block, they are local in that block, and such variables will cease to exist after the block. So after the block, it will not be available. We cannot use temp outside the block in which it is declared. So after outside this statement, outside this curly brackets, if you write temp variable, or if you try to print the value of temp, then it will show you error because it's not available outside the block. Remember, a variable declared inside block is completely inaccessible and invisible from outside that block. That is actually known as the scope of variable. And whatever variable created inside block, that is local variable. It means available throughout the block. Outside block it's not available. An example is given here. You can see there are two blocks created, BLK1 and BLK2. After BLK1, the blocking statements are given inside curly brackets. Same way BLK2 is there. Now inside BLK1, Y variable is created. You can see here Y variable is also created inside BLK2. Same way here X variable is also declared. But here, if you try to print the value of X variable outside the block, then it will show you error message. It shows X is already defined. It is because outside that block variable X has been defined. So this way a variable created inside block is available throughout the block only. All these programs you can create inside SCATE. So next statement is if statement. Let's see if statement, how it works. Actually, when there is only one condition, we have to specify if statement this way. Inside if statement, you can write Boolean expression. Boolean expression. And that also you have to write inside round brackets. Remember. Then you have to press enter. Now, if this Boolean expression becomes true, then you can write the statements inside curly brackets. Statement 1, statement 2, and then you have to complete curly bracket. But remember, if there is only one statement to get executed, then no need to write curly brackets. Then you can write the statement directly. Otherwise you have to use curly brackets. But this satisfies only one condition. Say for example, there is a variable named a is equal to 1. Actually we have to declare this variable first, but we assume that this variable has been declared. So variable a is equal to 1. Now if a greater than 0, this is the statement, this is the Boolean expression, a is equal to 0. So it will check whether the value of a is greater than 0. It is greater than 0. It means it will execute both these statements. let's say suppose we write statement like this: if a greater than 1, then it will not execute these statements, statement 1 and statement 2. So this way we can check any one condition. If there are two conditions, then we can use else portion. So if a greater than 1, then inside curly brackets we can write statements that will get executed if the condition becomes true. Otherwise, else portion, statement 3, statement 4, and then curly bracket. So remember here, if this Boolean expression returns true, it means it becomes true, then it will execute statement 1 and statement 2, and if it becomes false, then it will execute statement 3 and statement 4. But what if there are more than two conditions? Say for example, if a greater than 0, then we have to execute this, else execute this. It means if the value of a is 0 or less than 0, then we need to execute statement 3, statement 4. Now let's distinguish these two. If a is greater than 0, then it should display positive, means positive number. If it is less than 0, then we should display negative number. So for that we have to use else if portion. So if a greater than 0, then to display positive. If else if a less than 0, then to display negative. Else the last condition, that is the value of a is 0. Now it doesn't matter what the value of a is, because this is variable, so in a program it gets changed. Say for example, now it is 10, then it will display positive. If it is minus 90, then it will display negative, and if it is 0, then it will display 0. So this way, using if condition, either we can check any one condition or two conditions or more than two conditions. But if there are several conditions, it means more than 3 conditions are there, then it will become very difficult to handle if condition. So at that time we have to use switch case statement. So let's see, if Boolean expression inside curly bracket statement 1, else statement 2. So here if this Boolean expression returns true, then it will execute statement 1, otherwise it will execute statement 2. Remember, if there is only one statement to get executed, then no need to write curly brackets, then we can write directly. Now this is the control flow, or you can say flow chart for the if condition. So Boolean expression, if it becomes true, then it will execute statement 1. If it becomes false, then it will execute statement 2. After that, the program flow gets executed sequentially till the next if condition comes or loop comes. Some examples are given. If x modulus 2, remember modulus operator returns remainder as an answer. So if it is 0 as remainder, then it will print statement is even, x is even, otherwise it will print x is odd. So these are the statements for marks to display various grades A, B, C, D. So if there are several conditions, then it becomes very difficult to handle if. So at that time we can execute, we can use switch case. So remember, if there are three conditions, then we have to use if, else if, and else portion. If there are four conditions, then we can add more else if option. But if we write if condition inside any other if condition, then that is known as nested if. So here the statements are written if x greater than 0. Remember, if this statement becomes true, then it will execute this another if statement. Then it will check the value of y also. If y is greater than 0, if both the variables values are greater than 0, then it will print x and y both are greater than 0. Actually, instead of writing these two statements if conditions separately, you can also use AND operator and write only one if condition. If x greater than 0 and y greater than 0, then it should display x and y both are greater than 0. Else it will print x is less than or equal to 0. So when you write any if statement inside any other if statement, then that is known as nested if. Next is switch statement. The structure of switch is switch, then inside round bracket expression, then curly bracket, case constant value 1, case constant value 2. Same way you can write several constant values, and in each and every case condition we can write one or more than one statements. But remember, after all these statements we have to write break statement. The work of break statement is to stop this switch to get executed and then come out of switch case. So if any condition becomes true, say suppose case constant 1 is true, then after executing the statements, break statement will break the switch case. So it will not go to check other case statements and directly come out of switch case. Remember, in switch case, the last part that we can write, that is default, and actually this is not compulsory. This is like the else portion of if statement. In if no condition becomes true, then at last it will execute the statements written inside else portion. Same way here, if none of these conditions become true, then whatever statements written in default will get executed. So default is similar to else in if condition. Next is looping statements. As we have discussed previously, there are three loops: for loop, you can see here, for loop, while loop, and do while loop. So let's see all these looping statements one by one. Remember, loops are used when there is a need to execute few statements for several times, and these are the flow charts for looping statements. Let's take the first loop, for loop. Remember, in for loop we have to give three expressions: expression 1 semicolon, expression 2 semicolon, expression 3, and that you have to write inside round bracket, and then inside curly brackets you can write several statements. Let's see how it works. Say for example, for loop is used here for int I is equal to 0, I less than 10, I plus plus. Let's see. For int I is equal to 0, then semicolon, I less than or equal to 10, or we can say less than 10, semicolon, I plus plus, and then inside curly brackets we can write some statements. Here I is variable, this is known as expression 1. After semicolon, this is expression 2, and then after semicolon the third expression is given. Remember, this first expression is known as initialization. It means we are giving initial value of I variable, that is 0. The second expression is known as condition, and the third expression is either increment or decrement. Say for I is equal to 0, I less than 10, I plus plus. Now we can write few statements this way: system.out.println value of I, suppose. Only one statement we are giving. Here also the same rule applies. If there is only one statement to be executed, then no need to write curly brackets. Remember, in this statement S you have to give in capital and all the other characters must be in small. These are the rules for Java language. So the initial value of I is 0, and the condition is it should get executed till the value of I becomes 10, means less than 10, and after the execution of println statement, the value of I gets executed by 1. So first value is 0, it will print value 0, then it will do increment, so next value will be 1. So first it will print 0, then it will print 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now when the value of I becomes 10, at that time this statement will become false. This condition will become false. So it will stop executing the statements given inside curly brackets. So here this single statement gets executed for several times. Say here it will execute for 10 times, and every time it will print the value of I, and the value of I gets changed every time from 0 to 9. So it will print 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All these values it will print one by one. So this way for loop works. Remember, for loop is known as self-incrementing loop. It is because at the starting, while writing for loop, inside this for loop we are giving I plus plus. Inside this for loop we are giving increment or say decrement, doesn't matter, whatever it is, and that is why it is known as self-incrementing or self-decrementing loop. See, you can also reverse this statement. For example, we can write like this: integer I, just we have created variable I. Now for I is equal to 10, it means the initial value of I is 10. I greater than 1, so say greater than 0, semicolon, I minus minus, and then we can write statements inside curly brackets. So here self-decrementing loop is there. The starting value is 10 for variable I. then it gets decreased every time from 10 to 9 to 8, 7, like that, and every time it will print the value of I. So this way also we can write the for loop. Remember, for loop is self-incrementing loop. Another thing, remember, that is for loop is pre-tested loop. It means at the starting of this loop, at the start of this loop, it will check whether the condition is true or false. And if it is true, then it will execute the statements given inside curly brackets. Next is while loop. While I less than 10. Let's see this example. Say variable I we have created. Here initial value also we have to give I less than integer I is equal to 0. So initial value, starting value we have given 0. Now while I less than 10, it means it should execute the statements till the value of I becomes 9. It means less than 10. Then inside curly brackets we can write the statements system dot out dot println I variable. But remember, here while loop is not self-incrementing or decrementing loop. It means increment or decrement we have to give at our own as a statement inside while loop. Remember, if you forget to give this I++, it means increment here, then this will become infinite loop. Say how? Suppose this statement is not given, then what will happen? The first value, initial value of I is 0. It will check whether it is less than 10. Yes, it is less than 10. So it will print the value of I, means it will print 0. Now again it will get executed. The value of I is still 0. It will check whether it is less than 10. Yes, it is less than 10. Again it will print 0. Again it is 0 only. The value of I is 0. So again it will print 0. So ultimately what will happen? It will print 0 value continuously without stopping. So we will have to force the program to get stopped by giving Ctrl+C or Ctrl+ break key, and we have to forcefully close the program till it will get executed. So it will never stop automatically, and that is why it goes into infinite loop. So here increment or decrement is necessary to give inside looping statements, inside the statements written for loop. So remember, while is not self-incrementing loop, but this is pre-tested loop. It is because at the start of this it checks whether the condition is true or false. Say for example, here the first value of I is 100. Now what happens? It checks whether the value of I is less than 10. No, it's not less than 10. Then it will not execute all the statements. It will execute the statements given after the while. So after statements, after the while statements, whatever statements are given, it will start executing. So remember, for loop and while loop, both these loops are pre-tested. Pre-tested loops are for loop and while loop. Whereas remember, do while loop is known as post tested loop. Same way, for loop is self incrementing, whereas while and do while, both these loops are not self incrementing. Now let's see the third loop, that is do while. Integer I is equal to 0. Do, inside curly brackets we have to write statements, and then at last we have to write while I less than 10. So let's see, integer I is equal to 0, the initial value of I we have given 0. Now do statement, we have to write do. This is do while loop. Then inside curly brackets we can write various statements, then curly bracket over, and then we have to write while. See, this is not while loop, this is do while loop. And then we have to write boolean expression, say for example a less than 10. Remember, only in this do while loop we have to give semicolon while writing while statement. So here we have to write semicolon. So when the cursor comes here, it checks actually the value of I is 0, initial value is 0, but actually the checking condition, the portion that is to be checked, that is given at last. So what will happen here, doesn't matter the condition is true or false, but the statements written inside curly brackets will get executed once. At least for once it will execute these statements, and then it will check whether the condition is true or false. But if it becomes false, then it will come out. Let's see the both these example. Say suppose integer I is equal to 0, the initial value of I is 0. Now we will print system.out.println value of I, it will print. Here also we will have to do the increment at our own. So sorry, I plus plus now the value of I is 0, so it will print 0 first, then the next value will become 1 because I plus plus is given. It will check. Here I will come, I less than 10, it means the value of I is less than 10. Yes, it's less than 10. So again it will execute this statement. Now the value of I is 1, so it will print 1, then the next value of I will become true. But what happens if the value of I is 100, initial value is 100 we have given, then it will print 100. Once it will print value of I, then the next value of I will become 101. Then it will check whether this condition is true or false. It is false, so the cursor will come out of do while statement. So at least for once it will execute both these statements. And that is why do while is known as post tested. It checks at last after the statements are executed. Next is use of break and continue. There are two statements, break and continue. When there is a need to break a loop when a particular value is reached, at that time we can use break statement. So when we use break statement inside any loop, it will just break the loop and cursor will come out of looping statement. So it will execute the statements given after the loop. Continue is a different type of statement. Say for example, when we use continue statement, it will skip the statements given after the continue, and it will execute the looping statement, whatever looping statement we have written, for the next value of variable. So that is continue statement. Now when you write any loop inside other loop, then that is known as nested loop. So the programs written for loops you have to create. All these are the programs. So this chapter is over here. Thank you.